Hi, my dear friend. I am starting from today political interview. And political interview, I am starting with our honorable guest, Mr. Gary Tabach. He is CEO of Fort Sill and a retired captain in the US Navy. Gary brings over 26 years of military experience, including serving as a chief of staff for NATO in Moscow. He now focuses on cybersecurity, recognizing the shift from traditional warfare to combating threats in the electronic spectrum. I have described about you correctly. If anything wrong, Gary, please correct me.
No, well, yeah, I'm pretty much, everything is okay. I'm not that much into business, being that company of Seafarer, but if it will ever take off, that'll be fine with me. But it's not. I'm not a businessman. Let's put it this
way. Okay, Gary, you know that today for us, because I am from maritime, and I am also ex-seafarer. For seafarer, today is a very important day. Today is day of seafarer. You know.
Oh, congratulations! Yeah. Well, congratulations on your English speaking channel, and congratulations on your professional holiday.
Not holiday, celebration day, can say. So you see, you are also from Navy, right?
Yes.
So it also related to that industry. I mean, you are also from ocean sea, yeah. So I would also would like to wish you very, very happy and prosperous day, and the day of seafarer. You know, I am dedicating not only this day. I am dedicating my whole life to seafarers, because you see, I have sailed as a cadet only. I never sail as an officer, yeah. But I am very passionate to seafarers because serving this industry. So you are also captain.
Yeah, it tends to be that those of us who are sailors that never went to sea are the ones that are most dedicated to it. Yes.
Yes, because you know, like a doctor who want to become doctor.
Because we love sea from the shore.
Yes, yes, yeah. You are 100% right. Because you know, in medical also, who want to become doctor and study, and after this they not become doctor, they love more than doctor this profession, as I see, and sacrifice their life.
Those who cannot practice it, we teach it. Yes.
Yes. So, Captain Gary, what are your impressions about the Black Sea Forum, which recently has taken place in Odessa, and you were one of the their participants?
Yes, it was very interesting. I think the most important part was that many people showed up to that forum. It was very well organized, and even though people were concerned that that Odessa could be bombed and attacked, most people showed up. There was our ambassador, U.S. ambassador there. She came. There was a former prime minister of Australia present there, and there were many ambassadors from Baltic states, many diplomats, and from the United States. There were people from Heritage Foundation. There were Kurt Walker. Mr. Kurt Walker was there, which was very impressive that he showed up and participated in the panels. So it was very interesting and very well organized by parliamentarian Alexei Goncharenko. He organized this forum. So it was impressive, I would say, considering that there is a war, considering that the area is under fire, Odessa. And it was good to see that Odessa is still alive. I mean, it's not as um, as wild and as much fun as it usually is in the summertime, but it is alive and it's still operating. Odessa is still there, and is, I don't know how much your audience knows that it's a cultural city. It's a city that is known in, it's kind of a mascot of humor and friendship and thievery and bandits and all kinds of things, and fairy tales that go around about Odessa and jokes and things like that. I mean, April Fool's Day on 1st of April is a national holiday in Odessa. So it's still there. It's not dead. They couldn't destroy it. So hopefully Odessa will be back shortly in full swing.
Yes, Gary, I can add here, Odessa is, even before war, even before pandemic, was famous in this world. Many of my friends, not many, I can say 100 of my friends from across the globe, they were not aware that where is Ukraine, but they were aware where is Odessa.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Odessa is considered the country of its own. Yes.
Yes. Gary, how Ukraine has changed since your first visit?
Well, I think it became more intense in the sense that the war is stagnant, that the bill that's supposed to provide all the weaponry in the world to Ukraine once again was signed and voted in our Congress, but no help has arrived, nothing extraordinary. Again, the same thing. Lack of main weaponry. Definitely, there's more bombardment, and the COBs, it's a gliding bombs. They're being, in Kharkiv, we see that the other day there was a huge destruction and deaths. We see that F-16s are still not in Ukraine. Air defenses are lacking because we keep promising and promising, but almost 3 years into the war, still have provided minimum of it. So the people and the Ukrainian leadership, I think, is getting more and more disappointed in lack of assistance from the West, which is led by the United States. And they're preparing for what is called forcing Ukraine to sit down and negotiate with the Russians, where the negotiation advantage is on the Russian side.
Yeah. So, Gary, tell me, because you are very much passionate and know about US governments, and you are, I can say, a good supporter of Trump. So what is your expectation as of now that whether Mr. Trump will be elected, or there will be again Biden, or there is one who is third? Can you remind me?
Which what?
No, there is chance of whether Trump or Biden, and one more from the
Robert Kennedy.
Robert Kennedy, yeah. So what is your expectation? Who will become president of US?
Well, I think that there's two things. I think, as previously, President Trump will be elected as a president. Now, whether he will be the president, that's another question. Because, again, from my own city of Philadelphia just recently, which is a Democratic city, very Democratic, he had a huge crowd that gathered of his fans, filled this full stadium, and that stadium is humongous. While
Yeah,
so
let me tell you what happened. Now electricity off. There
yeah,
are
right.
some phone hotspot I'm getting, and yeah. So this is a life. You know what I say? Show must go on. Yeah, like
Yes.
in military.
We can see what's going on. So but we're dealing not with the normal elections or a normal democratic process. We're dealing with a war between good and evil. We're having a war between darkness and light. So we're having a battle between democracy and capitalism as we know it, and Bolshevism as we also know it. So Bolsheviks, and that's what I call them, they will not let the power go that easily. Just like, Brezhnev or Stalin, until they die in office, they will not be replaced. They will not allow it. So this is what's happening in the United States now. And if I have no doubt that President Trump will win this election, if it would be fair election. But since we do not expect fair elections, we do not expect a democratically elected government, there is going to be problems. There will be problems, and it's up to us whether we will be able to deal with it. And again, we can see of hundreds of thousands of people collected by Trump in the Democratic areas. And Biden is not, again, nowhere to be seen. Again, he's somewhere, in the last time he was in the basement, hiding from COVID. Now he's in Camp David, preparing to be able to stand up during the debates. So yeah, that will be a test not only of American people but of an entire humanity.
Yeah, Gary, do you believe in the Euro-Union military alliance, which might exclude the USA?
European?
Yeah.
I believe in God. Everything else, I suspect.
Like America, we trust in God. Yeah.
I trust in God, but everything else I suspect. You see, many people, there are people or countries blame that Trump wants to break up NATO, which is a political military alliance. It's not just a military alliance, it's also a political alliance. Because he forced them to pay their dues, to pay their part. So kind of like, if you don't pay your part, then get out. If you don't pay for a club membership or for insurance, you don't belong to a club. Your insurance doesn't cover you, which they accused him, of course, of that he's trying to break up NATO. Which, to me, that's not right. And they started paying for it eventually, some of the countries, but some still not paying for their full dues. But those same countries that blame Trump for breaking up NATO are saying that we should set up a parallel organization, but without the United States, which they will not be able to do. Europeans could never do.
Yeah.
All they could do is get into a fight. So by creating a parallel organization that will supposed to mimic NATO, will eventually break up NATO, which eventually will be in competition. So let's say that European countries will create another alliance, which will be Germany, Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, Poland, all the other European countries. So they will turn out to be belonging to two organizations, to that new European NATO and the old NATO. Well, they can't do it. One thing, if they can't pay the dues, if they can't pay for themselves for the old NATO, how will they be able to pay for two NATOs? Therefore, only one NATO will be able to survive. So if they will create a new one, they'll have to leave the old one. So it isn't Trump who tried to break up the NATO. Actually, he tried to solidify that, to make it so everybody pays their share, where they're actually trying to and create a new NATO without the United States, which, of course, nobody in their right mind wants to set up anything to break up something that includes United States, to set up something new that excludes the United States. That's crazy. So this is all talk.
Yeah.
They're just talking. It's, as President Trump put it very well, eloquently said, bullshit.
Gary, yesterday, the US State Department has issued a report about corruption in Ukraine. Does corruption can hinder perspectives of Ukraine and US support?
Of course, any corruption can hinder. Corruption is very bad. That's why it's called corruption. It corrupts. It's like rust on the metal. Rust corrupts metal, corrupts the strong material as steel. And rust corrupts it. So corruption, that's what it does. It eats at the very strong steel or very strong societies. So there are different forms of corruption. For example, India has its own form of corruption. I'm not sure if I know exactly the details of this corruption, but castes, when you have certain groups of people, that is also corruption. My son will be a general because I'm a general. Your son could never be a general because your son needs to be a dentist because you are a dentist. That is also a form of corruption of society. So you're not choosing people by their talents or by what they want to do, but they're chosen by how much money the family has, or how much power the family has, or less, or which color of the skin they're born, and so forth, or what religion they are, and so forth. So there are different forms of corruption, and that's what slows the societies in that sense. I can tell you that hurts. And if you have two corrupt systems, then it's doubles. For example, if the United States government is corrupt, and it is corrupt. Today, we have the most corrupt government in the United States. And Ukrainian government is corrupt and society is corrupt, and they're trying to work both, then it's like two scheme artists or two corrupt individuals are trying to do business. It will not work. It will not work even one corrupt individual is trying to do business with an honest individual. So the only way things can work if you have two, I mean, again, there is corruption everywhere, just like dirt, just like, rust. You can't get rid of it completely, but there is a corruption as a rule, and there's a corruption as an exception. It tends to be that in Eastern Europe, corruption, or in the West, corruption is supposed to be as an exception. But in East, corruption is a rule. So that's how it happens.
Yeah, Gary, you are right. As we say, low crime it doesn't mean no crime. Low corruption, it doesn't mean no corruption. Corruption is everywhere. But you see, Ukrainian corruption, this give people privilege, because the rules is here, one rule is against other rules. So if you want to avoid all 100% corruption, it means you can't live. I am living here 33 years. I have seen in my life that if you encourage corruption, corruption will be more. If you not encourage corruption, then you will avoid a lot of things. But I not do corruption, 100%. Because, and in same way, I brought my son, who is also not because I have not even given 1 cent during my study to anyone to put exam. And you know that habit and taste formed in childhood remain unchanged in manhood. As you say that if government corrupted, and then people automatically slowly corrupted, because everything comes from head, like a fish. Yeah, fish is spoiled from head. And also you have described about India. So let's talk about India. How has India positions itself diplomatically in response to the Russia-Ukraine conflict?
How India should do what?
Position. What is India position like diplomatically in response to the Russia-Ukraine conflict? What is position of India?
Well, it's not only India. It is any nation, any people. You should be on the right side of history, even if it is in a short term not beneficial to you, but in the long term it will be beneficial to you. So India should distance themselves from Russia, and I know it is very, very difficult because India has very strong ties to Soviet Union, to Russian weapons, for instance. But they should start distancing themselves, as we, the United States, should start distancing ourselves from Pakistan. Pakistan is not our friend. So I think, but it is difficult. It's a long and painful process that will cause problems. But, you know, when somebody tells me they're not corrupt, I usually suspect they are. Because it's like when a person says, I'm very honest. Well, you know, are you really honest all the time? Because I don't think it's an honest statement. So it is corruption. Again, it is all depends what you consider corruption is. For instance, many things that are considered corrupt in our country is not corrupt in India or Ukraine. What in India considered to be corruption, or in Ukraine considered to be corruption, is not corruption in the United States. For instance, lobbying in Ukraine or Russia would be considered corruption. But in the United States, if you have an official lobbying and you registered lobbyist and you do all this stuff, that's not considered to be corrupt. It's a very dangerous work you do, because they can accuse you of corruption very quickly there, or foreign interest. But it is so it's also what you consider to be corruption. For example, what should India do diplomatically? I think that India is a democratic country, and it should do the right thing. It should stay with the democratic world, not with the dictatorships and things like this. It should be in our camp, not in a Russian camp. But again, it is very difficult, and it's not necessarily fault of India, because we supported Pakistan so much, and India has problem with Pakistan and China. So yes, it's a very, very delicate balance. I know that one thing, that there is an individual that is very popular in India. His name is Scott Ritter. He's a former Marine major who was accused in the United States and was convicted of pedophiling. And he's very pro-Russian. He's best friends with Kadyrov. And he's on all the he's anti-Ukraine, in that sense. And he's a very popular guest in all of the, on many popular Indian shows. So, why is India so interested in this convicted in court of law of the United States of a pedophile who served time? Why are you so interested in him? Maybe there is some corruption involved. Somebody is paying to push him on India. India is a major country. It's a huge country. A lot of people don't realize. I think it's the second one after China.
Yeah, Gary, you are right, because you see, as we say that your enemy is my enemy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like this, because what affects Ukraine and India relationship, Pakistan, because Ukraine developed earlier relationship with Pakistan to helping, and India, if see that Pakistan and Ukraine has good relationship and they are growing, and you know that Pakistan there is a Talib, yeah, Afghanistan. So
sure.
everyone in this world know that if you are supporting such country, it means that you are damaging diplomatically relationship diplomatic. And same here, as you see that now with USA, India relationship is now developing in a right way, in a good way. Yeah, yeah.
Good.
And,
Good.
and, and
Uh,
with Ukraine also. And China, China is always for India enemy, because China always make problem for India. Yeah, there will be no way as of now to strengthen any relationship with China. But Chinese products in India is much more than, in business area, than Indian products in China.
well, look, our governments have tendency to choose wrong friends. It happens in politics, and or we tend to ignore our friends, the ones that could be our friends, instead of pulling them on our side. Our diplomats, who are supposed to be the smartest people, tend to make awful mistakes in that sense. And yes, again, I think that we in the United States need to reconsider whether Pakistan is our friend. I don't think it is our friend. Yet the entire Pakistani military budget is paid by us, by me, by the taxpayers. And again, how do we? I don't think you need to go to diplomatic school, the best diplomatic school in the world, to understand that there are differences. Pakistan is an Islamic state. There's nothing you can do about it. Very difficult. Like you said, Taliban was formed there. That's where Taliban came from, even though it's Afghanis. But the birth of Taliban was in refugees from Afghanistan during Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. So yes, India is a democratic country, and it is they're always talking that Americans, Biden tries not to piss off Putin because it's counterbalanced to China. Well, what about India? India could be our very good friend to balance that out, to be something that balances China out. But nobody ever brings India up, even though it's a huge country. And like I said, it is a democratic country. It does have a democratic form of government. You even had a woman in charge of India, Indira Gandhi. But then why do we do this? For instance, Ukraine all of a sudden decided that Palestine is their ally. Why? Nobody knows. No explanation. And now, as you're saying, Ukraine is trying to build a relationship with Pakistan. Yes, I don't think it's anything wrong with building a relationship with countries, but you have to, again, consider with whom you're making those alliances. How are your real allies feel about it? How does Israel feel about you being friends and trying to build a relationship with Palestine, a terror state? How does India gonna feel with Ukraine building a close relationship with Pakistan, and so forth, or China? So this is a very it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act,
Yeah,
and
this
you
is
should
very
consider it when we constantly.
Yeah, this is
when
very
we're constantly talking
sensitive.
about the war in Ukraine and participation of China in it,
Right.
and China participating, China, we never mention India in it. Only Russia and China, Russia and China. Yet India could be our very strong partner. And again, it was President Trump who was able to make a deal with India on billions of dollars to start substituting Russian military equipment for American.
Yeah, you are right that in this diplomatically there is a diplomatic gap. Therefore, this is happening. But end of the day, India is not supporting any country in this world who is killing other nationality or anything. India, yes, of course, buying this oil and gas and all these products from Russia. But you see how it happening, that they are buying, India buying in rupee, and Russia should buy something from there. And then India exporting to Europe, and from Europe, Ukraine also getting. So you see, this is a crazy politics.
Sure. No, it's yeah, absolutely. In today's world, none of us can survive without having diplomatic and trade relations. You
Yeah,
can't build.
therefore,
You can probably
yeah,
create an iPhone or an IBM, but you cannot build it without having Indian parts, Chinese parts, and so forth, and Israeli applications. So it is. Fortunately, it becomes this international connection to each other better than any diplomacy. Business is better than any diplomacy. But sometimes you have a tyrant, you have a man or a nation that will ruin that whole thing. Russia almost was part of this world society, and yet Putin comes in and then stays in power for too long and becomes a dictator and becomes authoritarian and starts a war in order to stay in power, and breaks all those relationships, breaks all those trade things that were built for years. And we become poor again, and a lot of suffering and death.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Gary, for your insightful information, and
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I think that our friends in India and other part of the world will also know from you that whatever you have now described about India, Ukraine, and USA. So that's great. Have a nice day.
And I have never visited India, so one day
You are
I'll probably
welcome, my dear friend. You are welcome. We are now with my Ukrainian friends, business leaders, creating Ukrainian Indian Business Association to strengthen
Good.
economical relationship. If economical relationship will be strong, political relations will be automatically strong, isn't it?
It is great. That is the best diplomacy. And I know that it should be working with Saudi Arabia, with the what we called modern Arab states. All this is good. We should build all these relations. That's the best diplomacy. That's the best medicine for peace.
Yeah, so you are welcome to India anytime.
Thank you.
You let me know, and I will connect you with more diplomatic guy there. Even I have a
Thank you.
approach to this Modi government ministers also, because
Thank you.
yeah, so there is no problem, no issue, because you see what is in India government supporting business, international business, always they support India. There is a corruption on level of, where is this income tax, police, or sales tax, police, and on other level, but not on government level, government support. Therefore, India, you see, what is India GDP today?
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day with full of positivity. Take care. All the best. Thank you.
Bye-bye.